that's how Safaricom stemmed out. They came looking for me.
What do you think this says about positioning?
Exactly.
But now, today's episode started as a proposal to cover one of the most powerful stories about resilience.
I had so many scars because I flew through the windscreen.
One of our guests for this episode, Sapna Deadly, has said no to death, or rather defied death, more than once. There's cheating death and there's saying no to death several times, right?
Yes. My brother, he was stopping cars on the road because I was there, and he said, I've killed my sister.
Alafu, beyond resilience on matters health, I get to learn mid-conversation that our guest, Sapna Deadly, is responsible or deserves credit for changing the game about retail of computers in Kenya.
The other companies had to sell at the same price as PC World. Because if I was a distributor, PC World couldn't sell cheaper. So then CompuLinks became the distributor, and everybody got the same sort of profit when they sold.
Na bado hata sijataja mobile phones.
It was confusing a bit, and then I said, you know what, let's not mix the two businesses. Let's open Phonelink. So Phonelink was born out of that. So
You started Phonelink.
yeah, I started Phonelink.
Phonelink, if I'm not wrong, has a blue and red logo.
That's correct.
Oh dear Lord. Alafu, you may also recognize our other guest, Shiv Singh, from the Netflix show Cash Money. Alafu, hii sasa amekuja na pure inspirational vibes.
I grew up with asthma as a kid. I couldn't even breathe. I was the guy who, in school, I couldn't run. Throughout high school, I was fat. I was a really, really fat, underconfident child. Like, I never used to swim because I didn't want to take my shirt off.
Business na healthy living nuggets that I bet we've not covered before.
Unfortunately, what our grandparents considered life is what we're considering health and fitness. The normal things they did, walking to the farm, eating organic food, having, conversations and storytelling around the bonfire, like bonding and stuff like that. And working out, whether they were farmers or warriors or whatever. Today we're driving our car to go to a gym to mimic that.
I'm your host, Dr. Kingori, and here's another reason to stay subscribed to our channel. Kama uja subscribe, this right here is another reason to hit subscribe and turn on the notifications bell. Alafu kama umependa seti yetu kama kawaida, this is happening at Wojo Africa, which is a premium co-working space located in Upper Hill, Nairobi, formerly Crown Plaza, Macua Hotel. If you're familiar na your concept ya co-working space, like an office that has been set up for you, unakuja, unapigwa rate fiti, and everything you need in the office ama in an office setting has been done for you. You need to get in touch with the team at Wojo Africa. The contact details tumewekea hapa kwa screen. Sawa Shiva and Sapna, thank you for joining us. This conversation was set up in a very interesting design.
True.
A special thank you to my friend Cleven Langi, who's also been a guest on our platform. And I think for the sake of our audience, he sent me a video.
2024 was a crazy year for me. I suffered multiple strokes and a seizure in February, a total knee replacement in November. This was my 14th surgery. See, life has taught me this. If you can smile through the pain and believe that your journey is not over, you open up a window for yourself. A window to rise from the ashes. A window of hope. This year, I bounce back. Because no matter how many times life knocks me down, I will rise. I refuse to let weakness, self-pity, excuses, or doubt break me. I am a warrior. I always will be, and so are you. No matter how bad you think it is, don't lose hope. Not now, not ever. Keep fighting. Keep going. You got this.
Yes. He sent us the clip And when I watched that clip, I thought it was motivation for me. And then he goes ahead and explains to me that this is a conversation we can set up, and it's a beautiful conversation we can start from. And that means sitting with you here today is a miracle in itself.
I'm so humbled that it inspired you.
It did.
Because that was the whole point of posting it. That even if one person got inspired by that video,
Yes.
I had done my job, you know, of
Okay.
inspiration. And I hope it goes on to inspire and have the same effect.
Okay.
And many other people.
I hope so too.
Yes.
Our conversation today is a combination of, let me say, at least 2 episodes, because it's a conversation on resilience, and I love your business insights, the both of you, right? So we'll get into that.
Sure.
But first, I would be curious to know, for you, like personally,
Yes.
how do you know you have that resilient spirit? What keeps you going in your first lowest moment?
You know what? I feel resilience is a choice. You know, you can either choose to give up or you can choose to fight.
Okay.
And I think when I'm faced with a setback or with a downfall, I always choose to fight. And I never back down on anything. I don't know where I get it from. It's probably, I don't know, where do you think I get my resilience from?
You know,
It's-
I've been in the health and fitness industry for almost 15 years now.
yeah.
And I've trained with fighters, I've trained with athletes, I've trained with military combatants. And the strength, and not physical, the mental strength I've seen in Sapna is something that has shocked me as well as inspired me.
Okay.
I think she's unfortunately lived through so much pain that it's either break or give it back. You know, so I think sometimes that you're forced, that sort of decision making is forced upon you when those are the only 2 options left. For a lot of people, it's, yeah, life sucks, but does it really? You know, where we think it's hard on us, but it's not. We can make all the excuses. But with her, with a car crash, multiple surgeries, a stroke, a seizure at the same time, and it comes again and again and again. At some point, you're just like, you know what? I have no other option but to fight. You know, so I think on some level it was forced upon her. And I think on some level you also believe it comes from your dad, because her dad
I
is
do.
almost 90 and stands with his back straight and has no excuses for anything. So I think it's a
I
combination
call
of the
him
two.
my Superman.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when something happens, when there's a setback, I have never said, why me?
Yeah.
I always trust God's will. So instead of saying, why me? I say, what's next? Where are we going to go next, okay? If this has come, how are we going to overcome it? And then every day, I try to take baby steps or little wins every day to make sure that I'm in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because if I say to myself, no, I've got to get this sorted out tomorrow, no, I take little steps every day and know that I'm moving in the right direction.
Okay.
And I think innately, I don't know, I've got some sort of a spirit in me that tells me, you know, go on, you've got this. It's always, you've got this.
Is it, I believe, in fact, I believe it's accurate to say that you've said no to death several times.
Yes, I have.
This is not cheated. There's cheating death and
Yes.
there's saying no to
True.
death several times, right?
True.
I take you to a story I shared, a brief story
Yes.
I shared with Shiva.
Yes.
In 2018, we take someone to hospital. And after, I think, 3 days, she says she's not staying, she has to go home. Where she is, people are dying. It's like people are dying in tons.
Yes.
And true to that, the next, as in, I remember when you go and ask, there's a person here.
Yes.
You told, she was gone in the morning. Oh, that person was gone last night before you guys just left. You understand?
Life
You
is
have-
so fragile.
You have been in that situation.
And I have, you know, it was really painful when it happened, especially the stroke. There were multiple strokes and a seizure. I was alone at home and I had been having this really bad headache all day and I was feeling so fatigued. So Shiv said, why don't you just rest? and he closed the curtains, got me comfortable, took the dogs out, and he goes, just rest. And he was out, and I said, okay. But the headache kept on nagging, and the next thing I knew, I was in the bathroom, I was on the floor, I woke up covered in my own vomit. I was totally incoherent. I didn't know what had happened to me. I woke up, I think the first person I called was Shiv. And I said to him, I don't know what's happened, but it's something bad. Come back quickly. And they took me to ICU. No, they took me to emergency room at Aga Khan. So obviously they did the scans, they did everything, and by that time Shiv was at the hospital. In fact, he was at the hospital when we got there, and he had to carry me from the car because I couldn't move my left side. And they got me in there, they did my scans, we waited, and in the meantime they did all the tests, lift your leg, lift your arm, follow my hand. I couldn't do any of it. I couldn't move my left side. And then at that moment, my brother was there and Shiv was there, and Shiv got very angry. I mean, he got angry to the point where he was using like language, and he was saying, move. He goes, you can move this. He says, you're so strong. Just imagine you're carrying a 10-kilo dumbbell. Move your arm, do a bench press, move your legs. And you know what? I did. I moved.
Mm-hmm. Had she not moved then?
Had I not moved then?
On one side, that could have been maybe a permanent or semi-permanent paralysis. And I think in that moment, and with me, because I've trained with her, I've worked out with her, and like I'm saying, I've trained all these people, and she's one of the strongest people I know. So for seeing someone like her, unable, she does crazy things. She does pull-ups with chains, she does push-ups on one hand, she does crazy, and then she can't move a limb. So I literally got angry, and I think maybe it was the coach in me that came out, and I was like, do an effing bicep curl.
Yeah.
And out of fear, and I actually yelled in the emergency room. So the nurses, the doctors, everyone got startled, but she also got startled in that attempt, and it slightly moved,
Slightly.
And I think on some level but on a whole other level, I think one thing we didn't mention is she's a very compassionate human being. So when you say someone cheats death or someone says no to death, another reason she says no to death is not only because of how much her life means to her. I don't think she cares that much. I think for her, it's the people she loves. Especially, she's the mother of 2 daughters. So I think every time she's probably had an anchor of people she loves that at integral parts of life she's had to be there for. So I think she's like, okay, I have bigger duties than to die right now, or I have bigger duties than to be weak right now. So sometimes also it's circumstantial. So I think in that moment she didn't want to disappoint me, and be like, you're asking me to do something and I'm failing to do it. So I think there's also that.
And that's almost a miracle.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It's almost a miracle. But for people out there, for those people who misinterpret, that doesn't mean Jesus was a gym instructor.
Never know.
Yes.
But at that moment, he was my Jesus.
Yes.
At that moment, I was slurring. And if he hadn't been there to tell me, you get yourself together. And he was screaming in the emergency room. I mean, I was even asked, do you want us to tell him to go out?
Yes.
And I said, no, it's fine. And so at that moment, he was my Jesus, yes.
No, but that's not the first time. And I think, and I'll come to Shiv with something related to this because of a mentality I had that you shifted with one conversation. In this moment, right, this is not your first experience with misfortune, and there's something you say that when something bad happens to you, you don't revert to why me.
No,
right?
never.
This is not your first experience with a brush with death.
Not really. No, not at all. Because I had a car accident many years ago where I broke my femur, I dislocated my hip, my knee was gone, I had a clot in my eye, in my head. I had so many scars because I flew through the windscreen. I flew through the windscreen and I landed on my knee. So the force of the knee broke my femur and I landed on this side of my head. You can even see the scar. So, and I lost a tooth. There's so much that happened. And, but the most dangerous bit about that was I had a clot in my head with the concussion. But again, God saved me. It bled through my ear. So it bled through my ear. So that was a brush with death as well, because my brother, he was stopping cars on the road because I was there, and he said, I've killed my sister. And he was trying to stop cars on the road. He was saying, I've killed her, because he was trying to feel for a pulse. He was holding my hand. He was putting his hand under my nose, and he couldn't feel anything. So somehow a Good Samaritan did stop and took me to MP Shah. And yeah, then it was a long, long journey from there. It was between wheelchairs and crutches for 7 years.
Yes.
Before I got totally...
7 years?
7 years, and 13 surgeries on one leg. So yeah, it took 7 years. And in those 7 years, I continued my journey. I went to university on crutches, continued going to do my surgeries wherever I needed to, got back to work. So it was always resilience that got me through. And maybe at that time, honestly, I wanted to do it for my dad. Because he always said that, I want to have a child who's educated. So despite everything, I arranged my go to university. I talked, I applied, and once it was all done, I said to my dad, I'm going to uni. So he says, no, you're not. He goes, you can't. He goes, you're on crutches. At that time I was on crutches and a surgery was pending. I said, no, Dad, I'm going. So he was very supportive. My parents have been my crutches in so many other ways. So loving, so supportive. So he did. He sent me on my own, lived in the dorms, did everything everybody else does, and got through my master's after 5 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
wow.
And through that time, I was in and out of surgeries. And even then, I did realize life is so fragile. Anything could have happened. And I remember one point when I was in hospital, when they thought that the infection had spread too much on my femur, somebody saying to my dad, outside the door, the doctor took him out and said that we may have to amputate. And I heard everything. So when my dad walked in, I said, is everything okay, Dad? And he goes, yes, my child, you're gonna be okay. And he put his hand on my head. I didn't say I'd heard everything or anything at all. And I said, yes, Dad, I am. I'm gonna be okay. And that was the end of it. And then they put me on high doses of intravenous antibiotics. I was having literally 2,000 milligrams of antibiotics being injected intravenously. And thank God the infection went, but then it was a long recovery.
A long recovery.
A long
process.
recovery. 7 years before I got completely better.
And
So
that's
that was my
goosebumps.
first brush
Like when
with
you
death.
said your dad walked in, you've heard everything. You've not told him that I know they're talking about this, and he's also not told you. He's like, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
For him to tell me, when a parent talks to you and he tells you, you're going to be okay, somewhat you believe it, don't you?
Yeah.
They're
But
so
no,
strong.
also
But
you
yeah.
were trying to make him comfortable in a way.
Yeah,
Wow.
at that time.
And this is, I'll be very interested to hear how you get the courage to start a fitness journey. But before that, Shiv says something when he explains to me some of the lowest moments you've been through in life. So I was like, is it because you had built a mentality, a strong mentality, by going through the fitness journey, or the conversation was, did having been going to the gym help, right? Or, and he says, not if you had not been going to the gym, it would have been worse.
So see, when the accident happened, I wasn't going to the gym yet.
Yes.
I hadn't started going to the gym. I started going to the gym after my divorce. I was going through a divorce. It was really difficult, and I literally didn't want to come out of under the blanket. So my daughter, the younger one, she was down from Barcelona. She was at a tennis academy. So she came down and she goes, "Mom, get up. I'm going to take you to the gym." So I said, "I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to do anything. I'm not comfortable," because I'd never been to a gym. So I thought, she's asking for something really way above me. So she says, "Okay, let's go out for lunch. I want to go to Harvest, I think, at Village." So I took her out for lunch, and then she goes, "Can I just get membership at the gym downstairs?" So I said, "Sure, let's go. I'll set you up." We go there, and Mr. Shiv Singh is waiting for us, and she goes, "Mom, this is your trainer." And that's how I met Shiv.
Yes.
And that's where my fitness journey started from. And he had to text me quite a few times to get me to start. But even he was relentless. Because I think Shania had explained everything to him. And so I finally agreed. When I started with him, he asked a fitness test. He said, "Can you do a squat?" And I said, "What's a squat?" So he took me from that level. He was very patient with me.
It was from there's beginner and then there's before beginner. But the mindset was already, and again, like you see what he was referring to was the stroke happened after you were already into fitness.
Yes. The stroke was already off.
I think it makes sense to say that the fact that you came into the gym, and I think when you started finding out that there's something that potentially can humble you, right? In terms of like, you were defiant and said, "I'm going to go to uni and I'll do this. No matter the fact that I'm on a wheelchair, I'm on crutches, I'm going to do what every normal person can do." So I think when she came into the gym, all of a sudden, not knowing what a squat is, which is pretty normal in the gym, and saying, "I can't do this," I think that triggered the same reflex in you to be like, "I want to do that and beyond."
Okay.
And you won't believe, within like a month, she was seeing like, we saw this guy doing pull-ups with chains on his back. And you can have the person who's like, "I'm too intimidated to even be around this space." She goes to me, "I want to do that." And within, I think, a month and a half, she was doing chin-ups with chains. So it's that thing. I think it's the mind wills the body, and then also the body becomes capable to give you confidence to have a strong mind. So it's like a circle where they both play on each other.
And one thing I don't do is I don't let circumstances define me. I won't. I want to be normal. I don't want self-pity. I will never tell anybody what I've been through, and it's taken me a lot to come to your podcast. I mean, he was very convincing, and he said, "You're going to help so many people. You're going to empower people," and that really, I said, yes, that's what I want to do, and if I can do it, I'd like to do it for everyone.
Thank you.
And so I'm really happy to be here sharing my story, because I am very shy. I won't really come out and talk in front of the cameras, but you've really made me feel comfortable.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And when you say she was at the gym and there is two people, one who would feel intimidated by seeing someone lifting chains, and she would be like, "Oh, I want that." Right. I'm the other guy. Now, so now it's also interesting. One of the people I've worked with in fitness, he has a very strict schedule of things they check, like your previous medical history, right? And when she comes to you, right, and you get to hear that she's gone through multiple surgeries, what business do you have doing squats?
Yes.
Isn't this a risky?
So this is every good trainer. The first thing you have to do is a fitness test.
Okay.
In the fitness test, first of all, you have to find out, do you have any illnesses? right? Anything that's a medical condition.
Okay.
Once you get the checklist from that, you can proceed. Then is, do you have any physical limitations, which is a limitation in your range of motion? Is your shoulder bad? Is your knee bad? Is your back bad? And the only way to determine that is through a fitness test. So what you do is, like, if you came for a consultation, we're like, okay, can you do this? So, like, I'll tell you how we did squats with her.
Okay.
So had I put her under a bar on her back and asked her to squat with the shape of her knee, I would be compromising her knee, her ankle, her back, her spine, even the neck, because the weight comes at the neck. Okay, you can say I'll even do a body weight squat where I'm not using weight. Still, they strain. I asked her, what's the lowest hanging fruit? Can you sit on a chair? She's like, I can sit on a chair. So I was like, okay, do you see that bench there? She's like, yes. I was like, sit. And then I told her stand. And then I told her sit. And then I told her stand. And that's because squatting is basically, if I get up off this chair, it's a squat. So I understood that if her body is capable to sit and stand on its own strength, doing more of that will build the glute muscles, the hamstring muscles, the supportive muscles that will now, again, it's repetition. So if for 2 weeks or a month, you sit and stand on a regular basis, but now do it more times and more consciously, so your muscles adapt. Once we got from sitting to a bench and standing, then it was, okay, hold my hand, now try. Then it was like, okay, now try on your own. Then it was like, okay, now use very little weight. So there's always, as a trainer, you have to learn to work around injuries. You see, again, I can't
work around
injuries. So what happens is, you've got, let's say, for example, you've got a shoulder injury, right? Biomechanically, your body is designed to move in various ways. So let's say for a bodybuilder, right? For lack of a better comparison, someone wants to do an exercise called a shoulder press, which is basically you hold a weight here, you lift it up. But there's an injury on the shoulder here. A good physio or a trainer will be like, okay, fine. How about we try from this angle and maybe either narrow the angle or widen it? Where are you not feeling pain in that area? So we'll still work your shoulders, but we'll work it from a different angle, because my hand can be this way, this way, this way. I can hold a weight from a front grip, a reverse grip, or a neutral grip. Which one doesn't hurt you? If all three hurt you, we don't need to do that exercise. Let's work another exercise. So like in fighting, I come from a background of Thai boxing. It's called the art of 8 limbs. And this is war strategy, that if I'm in a war and I lose one limb, let's say my left hand, I still have my fists, my elbows, my knees, and my legs to fight with. If I lose 2, I have 6 more. So the same thing with exercise. Okay, you have bad knees, let's work your upper body. You have a bad upper body, let's work your lower body. So let's find ways, but let's not make an excuse to say, oh, because I have a bad wrist, my legs have to be weak. So just get stronger. So that's the approach we took with her. And that's why I was so excited to work with her, because also as a trainer, I personally believe every client is my work of art. When you're walking out there and I'm your trainer and someone says, you look good, what did you do? And you say, I trained with Shiv. That's like my Picasso moment. And that's, I mean, it's a weird analogy, but that's how I take it personally, right? So with her, I was like, challenge accepted. I asked myself, how many trainers will use that approach with her? Let me try. And she actually made my life easier with the mindset.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times you have a lot of clients who've been on Google who are somehow telling you how to train them.
Yes.
When she came, she was like, look, you're the trainer. I just want to be a female version of you. And I was like, okay, all you have to do is trust me.
Wow.
And she did. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad she got into fitness when she did, because when she came in, her knee was already severely misaligned. And when that happens, the older you get, any age after 35, you start losing muscle and your bones start becoming weaker. It's just natural human nature. And had she not trained then, the impeding surgery that came last year would have happened much earlier, and the recovery would have been much worse. Like what I said we did was we strengthened the muscles around the weak bones and the weak areas so that they could support the weight. So for example, you have bad knees, lose a bit of weight so they're not taking a lot of load, and then strengthen the muscles around them so they're being protected.
Okay.
So there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. So you just look at, I'm not going to say we can't do something, but let's find the right approach with minimal to zero negative impact.
So you guys literally leave no room for excuse
No
for
room
a lazy person.
Not at all.
Oh, my
Not at
hands.
all.
No, we'll do it this way.
Yeah.
No.
You
There's
counter everything.
You have to. Or you see, at the end of the day, it's a choice. Like, you want to make an excuse, and then that everyone who makes an excuse about anything is not happy with themselves somewhere deep inside. Whereas, like for her, look at what the result was. Had she made excuses, where would she be? After doing what she did, she became physically stronger.
Yeah.
Working out releases the right sort of endorphins and hormones. So even heartbreak, that's why you find a lot of men who get heartbroken run to the gym, because you're bench pressing your emotions away. Men don't cry that easily. But what does a man do to release that? He'll either exercise, or he'll hit a punching bag, or just you need that outlet. So for her, psychologically that helped.
Oh yeah.
Physically that helped. And the most important thing is, within such a short span of time, people coming to her and being like, you inspire me.
Okay.
And that's what I think made her take up becoming a trainer herself, because of the impact the direct impact on someone's life it has.
But it was more so the impact he made on my life and how it made me feel. When I started the gym, it was not for aesthetics. It was not to look good. It was just to be strong, to feel strong, you know? For me, it was that I want to be strong, because he looked so strong when I met him. So that's exactly what I told him. I want to be like you, strong. And after what he did for me, it was such a godsend. And I said, I want to do the same for other people. I want to change my line of work. I don't want to be in business anymore. I don't want to do this. I want to start helping people feel the way I do. And then I took mostly women of all ages and with all ailments. Like, I had girls who were on the verge of suicide, anorexia, bulimia. I took a client who had polio. Who else can you remember? There was so many different clients. Many menopausal women who are going through a very hard time. And then with me, I found that being a personal trainer and training people, it doesn't just go to physical. I mean, I had them calling me at midnight and saying, listen, this has happened and I'm going through this. So you even become their life coach, indirectly. And they send you hearts. The payback of being a trainer is so high that sometimes you wouldn't exchange it for money. You just wouldn't. I mean, the value you add. And when somebody tells you that I love you after being on the curb of suicide, hugs me and says, you're my lifeline, I love you, and gets back into life, becomes so confident, gets a job, and their life's on track, that's the most beautiful feeling you can get.
Wow.
It surpasses any amount of money that you'd make.
You have a special relationship with money. We'll get to that. And it's a good thing that you've added that. It's a good thing that you've added that.
Yes.
But I also believe you guys all know that we are in March now. Yes, we are in March. The gyms are, the numbers are going down, right? And I believe for anyone watching and they will be interested in fitness, that crossing that path of or outweighing or beating the motivation of New Year resolutions. And because this is, Cleveland has a friend called Mike. And Mike says that there are people who just come like, yes, we all want, you see what you wanted.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be Shiv at first sight, right? But sustaining that, what can you tell us about sustaining that? Like, yes, we all want to be Van Damme.
Right.
We all want to be Chuck Norris, but when we discover what it takes to be that,
right?
What's the secret behind sustaining that, so that the next time someone watching us signs up for a gym membership, they will actually get value for their money in terms of completing, going through with it.
Right. there's multiple facets to it, right? First question is, you want to look like it, but how bad do you want it? So some people understand that, hey, it's cool to look like the guy I saw on Netflix or on a movie, but when you go in there and it's time to sweat and, you know, really, really push your body to the limit, it can be humbling, you know. But I think I came from two approaches, right? For people like her and I, like I grew up with asthma as a kid. I couldn't even breathe. I was
Whoa.
the guy who in school, I couldn't run. Throughout high school, I was fat. I was a really, really fat, underconfident child. Like, I never used to swim because I didn't want to take my shirt off.
You have pictures?
I have pictures, yes,
Okay.
yes. So I never wanted to swim. In fact, I have very few pictures because I also never wanted to take pictures, right? So asking a girl out when you're younger or taking your shirt off to swim, you know. So when you've come from that level of shame, then when you start finding small successes like this, your confidence really grows. I mean, you have to be careful. Your confidence doesn't turn to arrogance almost to a point. But if you reach the level of at least confidence that I'm starting to like who I am, you know, and there's A, liking who you are, and B, fearing not being that kid again, you know. So on some level, that fear of not being that guy again is driving you. Whereas 50 push-ups right now is not as painful as the shame of, you know. And for her, the same thing, 50 push-ups right now is not as bad as being on a wheelchair and looked at with pity. You know what I mean? So there's that level. But another level for like your normal person who's got a 9 to 5 and is like, I like to fill my shirt and look good, go out on the weekend and, you know, have a few heads turn and be like, guy's looking after himself. For that sort of person, what happens is, unfortunately, there's such a, I would call it misinformation or misinformation that you think you have to go and start killing yourself from day one. The secret is progressive overload. Walk into the gym, do enough to make you feel good. That's it. The first week, the first 2 weeks, don't even be like, put demands on yourself that I weigh this much today, by next month I need to weigh this much. No. Walk in the gym, have fun. Choose the exercises you like. Do them with correct form. Come out having sweated and being like, wow, that felt good. Even if you're not sore the next day, does not matter. Go back tomorrow. What you did yesterday, slightly above it. Go in the gym to have fun. Push it up, push it up. Be disciplined with yourself for 2 to 3 weeks. Yes, you might feel a bit sore, but tell yourself, I can commit this 3 weeks. If it doesn't work, I'll go back on and laze around on my couch. But give yourself 3 weeks, get better. Okay. What will start happening is your neurons will start motoring. Your body will send signals through your nerves. As much as your body is not changing, but your nervous system is your brain is signaling your body that, hey, there's activity happening, we need to start adapting. So this will start becoming like a routine, just like you going to switch on the remote for Netflix or you scrolling Instagram without knowing why you're doing it. It's because your motor neurons are telling you to do that. Make gym the same sort of addiction. And then after a month, now start playing challenges with yourself. Tell yourself, okay, these are my numbers for this week. Next week, I'll beat it by one rep or 1 kilo. But from the normal guy turning into the beach body he wants or the dream physique, that's all he's done for a ridiculous amount of time consistently, that he just got better at these basic principles again and again and again. But at a point that it's fun. Don't discourage yourself. Don't get broken in the gym and be like, I can't even move. Start slowly. And then you'll find when you get addicted to, like Sapna was telling you earlier, like you have that slight bicep coming or your slight chest showing, then you start wanting it for yourself. It doesn't become like, my trainer's calling me and I need to go, or it's my friend's wedding and I need to fit in the suit. No, it becomes your lifestyle. Like we get a lot of people telling us when we take on these crazy diets or these workouts, live a little, when you're out somewhere and someone's like pouring shots, they're trying to make you drink and you're like, no. And then they're like, live a little. I'm like, no, I'm actually living a lot more because the worst day of my life is my rest day. I love working out because again, I make it an environment. I go to the gym with my playlist, the music I want to hear. I go with the person I want to go with. Instead of going to a bar, I'm going to a gym. We're having the same conversations, but okay, let's talk about life a bit. Jump in, it's your turn. It's my turn. What did you last week? What did I do last week? you just make it a fun and engaging game.
Yeah.
Don't put any pressure on yourself in the beginning. When you feel like this has become your skill set, or you like what your lifestyle, then be hard on yourself, because you'll want to and it won't feel like like shit. So yeah, go 2-3 weeks, just have fun.
Okay.
It becomes a lifestyle. It has to.
Yeah, and perspective.
And that's how you start enjoying it. On our rest days, we twiddle our thumbs and we're thinking, okay, what should we do
in
now?
life?
Should we just do a little bit?
Yeah.
We're looking at each other. Should we
calling
just
you.
do, something? It's an addiction, and it's the most beautiful addiction you can have.
Okay.
You see the results, you see the strength coming in, and you're saying, whoa, let's go heavier, let's do this.
Yeah.
Then you look for new challenges and you say, okay, let's try this, and then you can impart the same challenges to your clients.
Okay.
Because you understand, you've done it, you know how you felt, so then you can understand what your client's going through. Okay. Especially with my injuries and what I've had in regard to my knee, my hip, my femur, my clots, my strokes, whatever it is, I learned to understand people better. And in better doesn't mean I become nice. I become meaner, because then it's no limits, no excuses. We've got to do it, let's go.
Okay.
So he's learned over the years not to push, and I've learned when to push and how much I can push. If somebody comes to me and says, you know what, my knee, I said, no, there's nothing wrong. Let's
can out
That's
excuse
Cleven. That's Cleven.
If you can,
I've got the same approach.
Are you seeing
Like
guys
that.
complaining about you, bro? I like it. I like
Cleven
it.
does not take excuses.
No, I won't take excuses.
Again, it comes. I was the same. I used to have a saying, "You're not officially my client till you throw up." That was my saying. It was like, I felt personal glory if I can pump your heart to a point you're vomiting.
Yeah.
And I changed that because A, I started losing a lot of money because of retentions, and B, if I can get there, if let's say getting you the best body of your life will take you 6 months, but I would rather take 12 months with you and make sure you don't quit. I would take those 12 months just so I don't whatever. With Cleven has a military background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their training is for life and death.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing what he's asking you to do right now, hypothetically on a battlefield, you're the guy who's going to get him killed.
So he's also a paramedic. So now if you get hurt, he
treats you.
And
Yes,
say, exactly.
yes.
But one
And with
thing.
her, I think it's also, you just can't out-excuse her. It's as simple as that. Like, you're talking to me about knee pain. I know what knee pain is. She knows when your knee pain is an excuse or it's
You can
knee
tell.
pain. She knows when your headache is a headache or an excuse. So it's not like you take them.
No.
She knows exactly.
I know them. And I
But then,
knew when an
yeah.
excuse is an excuse. Come on, we can do it. But I say it in my soft voice. And that doesn't seem like a demand on you. It seems like, okay, let's go. We can do this.
No, but I've also
You
seen
know?
it in your clients. Her clients really love her and they want to do right by her. She's got a very good way of getting the best. Her clients don't want to disappoint her as well.
They're
it's
very
crazy,
nice.
yeah.
My clients, I just
So-
love them.
But you've got a very good way of communicating.
Encouraging and communicating with them.
I'd rather skive Cleven's class than go there and give up in the first 10 minutes because it's that intense.
Yes, no, I know. I know.
Yeah, you'd
I know.
rather. But then again, your perspective is very interesting on. I like giving movie examples.
Sure.
You said something. You said, "Thank God, Ama, God blessed me. It bled out through my ear."
Yes.
That's a very different perspective of looking at things. And you are on a wheelchair for 7 years. There's no point you feel like God is punishing you for something.
No.
And then we have, I believe it would be interesting to see your perspective on, have you ever seen a movie where someone has lost, like let's say a vehicle, someone gets hit by a vehicle, or someone gets shot and they are begging their colleague to just shoot them dead because they can't live without their leg or they can't imagine being on a wheelchair. How do you carry yourself for 7 years without blaming God and building the hope that you'll walk again?
Wow.
In that time, I had a saying which I repeated to myself over and over again. God does not give you a burden that's too heavy to bear. He's given you this burden because He knows that you can bear it. At the same time, I was thinking, thank God it was me and not my brother. My brother did not get hurt because he's younger and I just love him so much. So I said, it's good God did it to me because I can bear it. I'm strong. But my brother couldn't have. So within those 7 years, but also in the 7 years, I'm making strides. I'm going to uni. I'm passing so well. I go on to do my master's. So my life is just not only sitting down and feeling sorry for myself. Like I said, I cover the why me with what next. So my what next is always,
yes.
let's do something, let's go on. I'm just like anybody else. I never liked to not feel that I'm not like anybody else. Even when I was on crutches, I'd do what everybody else done. I'd go to the supermarket, do my own shopping, carry my own groceries. I'd do everything but using the trolley. It became my crutch when I was shopping. Carry it out, get a taxi. So I never liked to be self-pitied, and I never sit on the pity pot.
Okay.
And later on then, I really had an example to set for my daughters. They're the most important people to me in my life. And as a mom, I wanted them to be strong, tough women. And I had to be that for them. Because I think children learn more by example.
Yeah.
They look up to their parents, like I did to mine. And before you ask me a question, how did I become so resilient? I just remembered every night at bedtime, my mom used to sit with us, my brother and I, and tell us stories, folklores. And she used to tell us stories about our gurus and what a good heritage we come from. We're warriors. So every night it was instilled, you're a warrior, you're strong, you're strong. And I think it just sits in your subconscious mind somewhere. My grandmother did the same thing. I had two grandmothers somehow. I believed another lady, my grandmother's friend, was my grandmother as well. Both of them, there was so much of God instilled in us and how much strength you can get from it. And I think from a subconscious point, I was working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's very powerful, and I hope it goes out to anyone going through a tough time right now.
Yes.
And how to build that actually. What next? That's a very powerful philosophy to walk through life with. So I'm coming back to another interesting bit about you, your relationship with money. But then, Shiv, someone shared a video with me and you mentioned it in passing, and I was like, we have to bring this up. The relationship between fertility and fitness, right? And the video someone shared with me was a lady explaining, no, was it a lady or a man? It was a video, it's a video someone shared with me, that when you want to have a child as a man, don't just go have a child. Like take time off, like do an year of exercise and watch your diet and stuff, because it counts so much. And what comes to my mind was, like, I'm a very simple-minded man, so I was like, is there a specific exercise for sperms? What's the relationship between fitness and fertility?
Okay, so I think the relationship isn't between fitness and fertility. It's more about health, general health. So you see, if, for example, your body has a lot of things on its list of priorities, apart, like, we have our conscious mind and the subconscious, and we have muscles that we control and stuff that we don't control. Like, you don't control the beating of your heart. You don't control the functioning of your organs, like your liver and your kidneys and the toxins they flush out. These things happen automatically. So your body does this with its own intelligence, and it has a list of priorities. right? As to, okay, I need, Kingori has just had some food, I need to digest his food. He bumped his head somewhere and he's got a small blood clot, I need to clear that clot. So there's all these things that your body is doing without you even knowing. Fertility is not at the top of that list, depending on what your health concerns are. So if I have disease, ailments, injuries, toxins, and anything that's negative to the body, your body will put fertility as not part of that priority list. So it'll handle like trying to make you survive before trying to make you procreate. It will only allow you to procreate when you're healthy enough to do so, because you've put procreation on that priority list with your health. So it's not that you need to be fit, it's just don't be sick, right? So get your health in order. So the first thing is the 1 year rule. It makes a lot of sense, but it depends. Go to a doctor, get your blood work done. Are your hormones in order? Is your oxygen levels, your health levels, are you healthy enough to create a healthy enough baby? If you are, you don't need that 1 year. If you're not, if you're the person who's been smoking, drinking, taking stress, releasing bad sort of energy, cortisol, you've got irritable bowel syndrome or whatever, just a bunch of things going on. Some people also conceive. I've known of people who've conceived healthy children while suffering from cancer. But again, that is literally, that's playing around with it. That's why we say anything can happen to you, but stay healthy and fit so you increase your odds. So I like the idea of taking 1 year to be like, okay, fine, I'm going to focus on improving my testosterone, because testosterone is directly linked to manhood and fertility and high quality sperm count and high quality sperm. So what happens is I'm going to take a year to get there. What are the methods to get there? What should I avoid? What should I introduce? For how long before every time I go to my doctor for my blood work to see, my levels of whether it's testosterone or hormones, should I take supplements? So it depends. Is it going to take you 6 months to be ready, 12 months to be ready? Are you already ready? It's a good idea, but lack of fertility is, a lot of people go through rapid measures of either finding donors or IVF or whatever. But I think first, just get the basics right. Okay.
You've explained it so well. I think my simplistic mind was as simple as when you do a push-up, one for you, one for your babies.
Exactly. Same thing when you're eating. Same thing when you're resting. Even rest. Let me tell you, the health and fitness industry has overcomplicated some very, very simple concepts. The data, the science, it's so confusing nowadays that you don't know what to believe, what not to. Unfortunately, what our grandparents considered life is what we're considering health and fitness. The normal things they did, walking to the farm, eating organic food, having, conversations and storytelling around the bonfire, like bonding and stuff like that. And working out, whether they were farmers or warriors or whatever. Today we're driving our car to go to a gym to mimic that, right? So go back to the basics. Go back to the basics. Again, stress. I mean, who has time to be stressed somewhere on the farm?
Yeah.
What deadlines, what promotions, what sort of stuff are those guys battling? Nothing. They're eating what they grow, vitamin D from the sun, like everything now we're running to get, either from tablets or doctors or gyms. It's just live healthy. So unfortunately, health has become what normal was once upon a time. So we're really playing catch up. It's not rocket science. There's nothing wrong with you if you're infertile. You're just not doing a few basics. Get back to those basics. Then yes, maybe if you've had a spine injury or some radical sort of disease, yes, there are exceptions to the rule. But for majority of the public, there's nothing wrong with you. There are too many toxins in your body. You're either drinking too much alcohol, taking too much stress, eating too much processed foods, too many sugars, deep fried, the stuff that intrinsically we know.
But we've always thought nutrition, when it comes to a baby, it is, this is general assumptions out there. At nutrition, it's only when women are pregnant that they shouldn't drink. Are you saying if I enjoy junk food, this funny, right, I'm actually a factory for weak babies? If that's thinking nutrition-wise.
You are a factory for very, very many possibilities. See, diseases are different but the manifestation of diseases comes through the same source. Some people, it will manifest as infertility. Other people, it could manifest as cancer. Other people, it could manifest as diabetes. It depends on, we are all predisposed to certain diseases in our DNA. A lot of them lie dormant. It's not like we have a lot of ailments embedded in us as much as we have a lot of health. It's just what you switch on, what you wake up. What was the closest thing, kuamka, that was just ready to go, that you messed up something and that's the one that came? You know, because you'll find someone has smoked all their life and they never got cancer. But you find there's so many ways that disease and sickness manifest. So fertility, maybe for someone, it went for the sperm count. So it's almost generic. It's very hard why you'll find that someone has a specific manifestation of a disease versus someone has another one. And you can't really tell why. And there's, you know, it's a lot. The idea is the problems are many. The possibility to that problem is also many. The solution is the same. Whether I'm trying to avoid cancer or I'm trying to have healthy babies, bottom line, be as healthy as you can. You will limit the chances of disease to come upon you, and if it does, you will increase the chances of fighting it. So it's just instead of I'm not a doctor to know the specifics that what was it that caused your infertility, what was it that caused your arteries to block, what was it to cause diabetes. All I know is I'm not going to give you the medical jargon, but if you were healthy in the first place, all these things would be okay.
And I think that goes a long way to explain to our people, because most Kenyans are one size fits all when it comes to fertility. We believe in groundnuts. Okay. And I think you have explained it rather well. I think that covers it. So we've not heard about groundnuts?
Not the correlation to fertility, really?
It's direct. If someone sees you with groundnuts, they know you have a busy night, as in it's like direct correlation.
All right, thank you for that.
That's our kienyeji nutrition, but the explanation really covers it.
I think maybe I can give you a high fertility nutrition plan as per what I think works well. I think eggs is a really good one. Eggs.
But you can go hard on the eggs and find out that these eggs have been made in a laboratory.
That's the problem. That's another thing. By the way, that's another problem that's there with general health. Unfortunately, you know, normally, and now it's come to a point, we're reaching a point where every human being will need vitamins and minerals from the shop. You know, people are like, oh, I just eat natural food and blah, blah, blah. And you'll find they're still malnourished as much as they're eating natural, because an apple today is not what an apple was 100 years ago.
Wow.
Based on the pesticides, people are genetically modifying these things, the pollution it goes through, transportation, storage, the soil is depleted. So it's kind of scary, but there's also that. So we have to somehow, get some extra vitamins, minerals. Wow. Zinc is a huge thing for fertility as well. We are lacking a lot of zinc. But zinc has to be eaten in an apple. You just can't go lick a zinc metal and... Yeah, exactly. Because by the time it reaches the body, there's a whole digestion process. A whole chemical sort of game is playing around in your body that processes these things. It's like putting crude oil in your car. You need to refine it before it enters. So that's what food does for us. In the form of food, it's processed differently. It's funny how sometimes we need like iron in food. Yes. But then again, we've had cases of some couples where wives have been accused of cooking for their husbands with steel wire, but it ends up doing more harm than good. Bro, you're not serious.
Steel wire?
Actual steel wire.
Yes.
No.
Do research.
That's crazy.
It's iron. It should be iron, actually.
I'm still stuck on the groundnuts.
I hear you. I can be a nutritional expert. I know. People know the steel wire thing.
Steel wire?
Interesting. Yes. You know what?
I think very dangerous.
I think it's sad that we're not. We're so far away from basic concepts. Eat real food. In fact, there's a simple thing. Go into a supermarket. When you're shopping, buy what would have existed 100 years ago. So if it's in a packet, in a tin, it has so many ingredients written on it, in these sort of e-colorings and flavors and preservatives. That's not food. Eat food. When you're going to buy meat, buy meat. When you're going to buy vegetables, buy vegetables. Whatever you're buying, buy it real. If you're drinking milk, drink milk. Try have it as real as possible. Then, if you have something wrong, check with the doctor, see your blood work, and then supplement on what you need. If you're deficient in a certain vitamin, then be like, okay, my blood report is showing that despite me eating healthy, this is what I lack. I can add it through going to a health shop or, you know, somewhere that can give me these additional vitamins and minerals. But we're taking 10 steps back and 1 step in front, because we're starting our day with deep fried something, then we're snacking with
Cereal.
sugar, then for lunch we have something deep fried and we're going to add it with dessert, we're going to snack on something else, Netflix and chill with another bunch of nonsense, and then wait for the weekend where we're putting booze in our system, and then be like, hey, I'm infertile, I wonder why. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science.
Whoa. I think, but if people really cared about what they eat, there will be good business
Everyone
in
would be good.
organic food, like
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
organic food.
That's where it is. That's where it is. Food is thy medicine.
Food
Is
is thy
what
medicine.
you are.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you are what you eat.
We'll actually, if your schedule allows, we should have another episode exclusively to discuss food is thy medicine.
I would love to.
As a topic.
I would love to.
We can set that up.
That is
Sapna,
true. Yes.
you took me through memory lane on an ad I used to see. And most people watching this will relate.
Okay,
In
go
our
on.
papers, Kitambo, there was always PC World. And I remember it used to have, like, in my memory serves me right,
Yes.
a desktop, and then like a computer, and then prizes
In
of...
red and yellow.
I
Yes,
believe,
red and yellow.
I believe I remember
You've
those
got a
ads.
good memory, and my marketing must have been fantastic.
I believe I remember those ads 100%.
Oh.
So now,
Yes.
you have a very interesting story and of how this business starts. Please take us through that for a bit.
Okay, so it didn't start as I didn't have a vision per se. I had just come back from university.
Yes.
I had finished a master's in information technology.
Yes.
And my first job was at Standard Bank, running their IT department. And that just was backing up their data, doing the reels. At that time, the service took up a whole room, air conditioning. So times then were different. The whole process took a long time just to keep the data intact for the bank and secure, because it was very confidential.
Yes.
I did it for about 8 months. Every day, it was like, you know, is it going to be different today? Is something going to change? But sadly, I was doing the same thing day in, day out. Then after 8 months, I said, this can't be my life. I can't be doing this for the rest of my life. So I started, okay, what do I want to do? Nothing was coming to mind. So I said I needed a laptop. So I went and bought a laptop. And it was so difficult to find one. I had to search. There were no retail outlets selling
That's in
laptops.
Kenya?
In Kenya,
Yes.
at that time. It must have been about 1994. Yeah, it was. And I decided, oh my God, it's so hard to get a machine.
Yes.
So I started buying from these local vendors where I bought mine from, putting these little ads in the Nation, you know, the ones that used to come in the back pages, and selling them through my room. And that's where it all started. And I didn't have much money. And so I'd just go talk to them very nicely, the vendors, and I'd say, can you just give it to me on credit? When I sell it, I deliver it, then I'll come and pay you. And that's what I did.
And they trusted you.
They trusted me. So I guess it was just a nice way, you know, you can talk to people.
No,
Yes,
it's
yes,
I
yes,
call
yes.
it the Sapna effect.
Yes.
So that's how it started. And I said, okay, business is doing good. Let me get a small place. So my first place was Yaya Center, 450 square feet. And I was the only one there. I was the technician. I was installing everything. I was the driver. I was the salesperson.
Yes,
I
yes,
was
yes.
everything. So I started off by that. And slowly then I employed one more person to look after the shop while I was gone installing. And then it grew from there, slowly.
Wow. And how
Step by step.
how is this for identifying an opportunity? Like, you look for a computer, a laptop, and you see the struggle you go through to get one, and you're like, no, there's no computers, and instead of buying for myself, this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
In terms of your experience, does this mean if I look for something and I don't find it, it means there's a market for it? Is that how you identify opportunities?
I think sometimes, yes, you need to know what's lacking in the market and pick up that niche. Like, yeah, why couldn't I get a laptop? And if you're trying to, so difficult to get a commodity or anything that it is, that means there's an opportunity, doesn't it?
And yes, and it's brilliant how that comes up,
Yeah.
because I believe it comes to be one of the biggest computer suppliers
Yeah,
in
so
the
the
country.
way it started, then we ended up with 7 retail outlets
7.
all over the country.
Yes.
We got our head office in Dubai, where all our shipments were consolidated.
From one problem solving of you needing a
Yes.
laptop.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was living through Dubai. My children were in Kenya, so I was up and down a lot, traveled a lot. We got distribution for Dell, Gateway, Toshiba, HP, you name it. We became distributors. Then I opened a distributor, CompuLinks. That was my firm that became the distributor to PC World, as well as all the other companies,
So
computer companies.
So when you're starting, it's not like, I'd like this vision
No.
to grow. I want to be the #1 supplier of computers in the country. None of that.
Honestly speaking, there was no vision. I took it a step at a time. When I saw, okay, this is the way this business is going, what should I do now? So it was step by step by step. It was built on baby steps, if I'm honest.
Like you said,
to
the
what
what
it
the
became.
what next mindset.
Yeah. It was
What
just
next?
what next? Oh, there you go.
The what
That was
next
another
mindset.
what next? What should I do next? And from there stemmed Safaricom. I had a separate company where I was selling Safaricom lines at that time. It was really a big thing. So I diversified into mobile phones, distributor for Safaricom. So
Wow,
I diversified a lot from
then you
that.
must have crossed paths somewhere with one of our guests on the show, who was also one of Safaricom's distributors
Who
at this
was
time,
that?
Dr. Esther Mushemi from Samchi.
That
She founded
sounds
Samchi.
really familiar.
Yes.
That sounds familiar.
There is no way you didn't cross paths
That
from
sounds familiar.
back then. Yes.
In
So
the late 90s, you know,
early
the
2000s.
early
Yes, yes, yes.
2000s, yeah,
Early
because that's when
2000s.
Safaricom came.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
early
And she's still in
2000.
business.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. She
so-
stuck to it.
Yes, she stuck to it. You know, and I believe what this part of the conversation unlocks is, you go to school and study IT, but having a job with a bank doing their IT gig is not enough. In fact, I noted somewhere that you resigned.
I did.
Like, it's not like, oh, I have the certificates now, like I have a job, this is it, like I'm done, right? And there's a direct link between the computer business and you studying IT,
Yes,
because it's complementary.
definitely. I think with the bank, I didn't see growth. I didn't know where I was going next. I was already heading their IT. I was 24 years old. And I said, okay, if I'm already heading their IT, what's next? You know, what am I going to do next? And I got bored. So that came the what next thing. And then
So,
the lack of computers in the market.
so it's not about how much money do I make at the end of the month.
No, it was how exciting is it? What's the growth? I don't like to be bored. I was bored.
Oh,
Yeah, and you know,
bored. There's money, but you're bored. Unajua,
yeah.
most
so
people can't
listen,
understand that.
Like when I started selling the computers, the excitement. Okay, I've got this. Wow, somebody's called, calling, inquiring, and I'm saying, yes, this is the spec, this is it. It's so engaging. It's exciting. You know, when you make your first sale, it's not even about the money per se, although I love money and I love making money. But it was just the whole process. And then at the end of the month, doing my balance sheet. And then when it all balanced on both sides, it was like, hooray, I've done it. It's such fulfillment. That's what I got.
Sounds stimulating.
Yeah, it was very, very stimulating. That's
Okay.
the right word.
And even in business, you don't settle in one. There's a level, if you reach, you branch out, you do something else.
Yes.
Wow.
Again, You see the niche, you see the opportunity. Where is
Niche,
it coming?
niche. This word has been repeated multiple times.
Yeah.
Niche. How important is this in business?
How much competition do you have? What is the competition? How much is lacking in the market? How can I capitalize on this particular product, on this particular business?
Yes.
How much demand is there? What's the clientele like? Do you have enough clients to fulfill that? So once you've got people who want these things, you just get them in and provide.
It's about looking for
Yeah.
a void and seeing how to fill
Filling
it. Look,
it.
Okay.
people, I think you're very good at looking for voids. Like,
Yes.
where is there a gap? Fill that gap.
And this is what informs the transition from computers to mobile phones.
Yes.
Okay.
And then then PC World just became the retail company. It was
Okay.
just the retail outlets that we had. Then CompuLinks became the distribution company.
Yes.
Because the other companies had to sell at the same price as PC World. Because if I was a distributor, PC World
yeah.
couldn't sell cheaper. So then CompuLinks became the distributor and everybody got the same sort of profit when they sold.
So this
So-
is, yes.
Yeah, so I couldn't be PC World and the distributor at the same time. I'd be competing with my own clients. So then a new company was formed
Sawa.
for distribution.
So now this wisdom of unlocking like a whole new level, I believe it's in the what next. But wow, this is interesting. Like it's enough to sell computers, right?
Yes,
It's enough to sell computers.
yes.
At the end of the month, balance sheets, balancing the books, well and good. Like the
Yeah.
money may be growing, right?
Yeah.
But then this now crossing the borders is different. How do you unlock that? How do you now think like before? Is it like before these people think like, because Kenyans have like a copycat mentality, yeah? Oh, this business is, that's the business we are doing.
Yeah.
Right? That's where you take it a notch higher, that if you get into this business, now, but you will be buying from me. Is this the mentality?
No. What was my mentality when I opened the other businesses? Again, when Safaricom came out, Safaricom actually approached us. They came to PC World because we had so many outlets. So they wanted us to sell all their lines from all our outlets. So that's how Safaricom stemmed out. They came looking for me.
Whoa.
And even the distributions that did come to us, the first one I got on my own merit was Gateway at that time. And then there was Toshiba, my favorite laptop in the world at that time. And it stemmed from that. So we started doing so well with those two brands. All the other brands that came on board were them coming to me and asking me to be the distributor.
So what do you think this says about positioning?
Exactly. You set yourself there, and then what you've done is you've handled the risk. You've led by example. Someone like the other brands are looking at what's already working. Yeah, it's all about positioning. Be at the right time at the right place. To make it more basic, if you want to sell food, what's the best way to do it?
Okay.
Go to where there's hungry people. It's as simple as that. Where are the
That's a
hungry
void,
people?
that's a niche.
That's it. It's about finding.
He's explained it so
and
well.
at the time that she found that void,
Yes.
remember there was no grey market, there was no Jumia, Gigi. She set up
The
like she was a
newspaper.
pioneer. Yeah, newspaper. Imagine we're
It was
talking about
only the
times for the
newspaper.
newspaper. It was about being a pioneer.
Fax machines. Our children don't even know what a fax
It's about
machine
being
is
a,
these days.
And I like what you said about the copycat mentality.
Yes,
I think a lot of the time what happens, even for a copycat, maybe you can get 2 or 3 copycats that make it because there's enough room.
Yes,
But
yes.
at some point, by the time you've decided to copy, okay, to Manda, you've found it's already saturated, and the trade has evolved. Like with you, your positioning led these opportunities to come your way.
Yes.
And because you were a pioneer and you thought about the idea at a crucial time, I think positioning plus timing is a good combination, which is why they came to you as opposed to the
Because
copycat.
I had the infrastructure
Yes.
set.
Before-
So all they had to do was
Yes.
come in
And plug in.
and
Think
plug in.
positioning-
So the infrastructure was
Yes.
there.
positioning, timing,
Yes.
and I think branding.
And then in
I
the
think
early
branding.
2000s, then the mobile phones come into the market. And I think because my structure was also there, the retail outlets, I said, why not? Let's start. Let's just start buying mobile phones, get a distribution for Nokia. I think at that time it was Nokia and BlackBerry. And what else was there? BlackBerry, Nokia, and that. I think those were the
there
two
was,
at
was
that
it was it
time.
Ericsson?
Ericsson,
They had the T28.
yes. I said, let's jump on that wagon now. So then it was confusing a bit, and then I said, you know what, let's not mix the two businesses. Let's open Phonelink. So Phonelink was born out of that. So
You started Phonelink.
yeah, I started Phonelink.
Phonelink, if I'm not wrong, has a blue and red logo.
That's correct.
Oh dear Lord. Yeah. Kai.
Phonelink stemmed from that.
These are layers of businesses that stemmed from a small decision
Yeah.
to respond to, like, I've been so frustrated looking for a computer.
And I can't get what I want. And I had come from London at that time.
And most people would stop at, I've not found a computer, how can I import one?
That's it. Nimeisha hivyo.
You decide to go a direction that opens a nationwide business, chain of businesses.
Yes. Wow, I never thought of it that way, did I?
No,
Good
really.
perspective.
Yeah, that's a very good perspective.
Oh, interesting. So much to unpack there. But what goes into negotiating to be a distributor? And is it like an insurance? Like, let's say, I want to be a Nokia distributor, right? What goes into, like, I need to go to talk to Nokia. So how Safaricom came to you is how you go to Nokia, now sell your like, what goes into that?
So you've got to have enough financial strength to back it up. Because for every region, a distributor has a certain number or they want to generate from that region. And it's either a certain amount of money, they'll give you a target that this is how much you have to buy from us every month, every year. And if you can fulfill that and you've got a good credit line and you've got good connections with the bank and that's all you need, and they give it to you. But the thing is, you're on your toes again. If you don't meet those numbers, they will take the distribution away. So it's all about numbers and meeting their deadlines of finances, you know. How much do they want from me at the end of every year?
You are in computers.
Yes.
You don't know how many phones you can sell. This is new. How do you approach a conversation of, I confidently can sell X number of phones in a given period?
But wasn't it so exciting? I mean, when the mobile came, it was so exciting. You could talk to each other, the whole concept of not sitting in the house and answering the call. I knew it would work. And it had worked in Europe. It had worked in America.
Yes.
It was working well. So why wouldn't we catch up? We caught up on everything else. I thought there was a big market for that.
Wow, that's super optimistic.
Maybe also intuition. I believe a lot on my intuition. Like when I say no, I mean no.
Okay.
But when I like something, I'll go for it.
Yeah.
You know, there were many things that came at that time as well
And
that I said no to. Can't remember now per se what it was. But when you've got an infrastructure, many people come to you and they say, can you sell this for us? Can you sell this for us? Can we plug into it? But when you know no, then it's no.
Okay. Now, oh dear Lord, has the game changed for new entrepreneurs? This is what I mean. You mentioned a good relationship with the bank, good line of credit.
Yes.
Right? That is muscle, right?
Yeah, that is muscle.
Of late, I've heard the perspective, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm struggling to find a link between the return on investment and the return on investment that is sold is between 8 and 12%.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
8 and 12%, which means real estate 8 bonds for stocks from 1900. We did the math on average for over 100 years. It has always settled on an average of 10, right?
Yes.
When it comes to borrowing or a line of credit, sometimes like our interest rates play between 18 and 23%.
Yes.
Like presently,
Plus base, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Are these opportunities available for new entrepreneurs, or that's a game of the past in terms of investing now?
No, they are. You know, that's what I mean. If you've got the right idea and you're sure of what you're going into,
I think a
then
lot of
it'll work.
I think a lot of the ideas have changed.
Yeah.
I think
The right idea.
and now the problem is, unfortunately, for young entrepreneurs now is the world, the economic world is evolving so fast.
Yes.
Ideas are getting outdated way
So
quicker
quickly.
than before.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think there'll be a new wave now with the coming of like AI and all that. There'll probably be a whole new wave where previous business ideas will just become obsolete. So
I don't know if I should be saying this, you know, whether it'd be right to say this, but I feel
Yes.
that the generations coming now, they're not as hard as we were or our dads were. You know, their mind is all over the place. That's what I feel.
I guess I think
You know,
I think
they
there's
don't
a
have this
huge.
concrete idea and like the will to say, I'm gonna go for this.
I think parents don't exercise for spams. Yes.
I think no. But also, I think boredom as well. It takes a lot less to get bored now.
Yes.
You know, attention spans are so much smaller. And again, this is not all youth. There's a lot of youth that's very, very driven and
good.
very, very smart and very, very enthusiastic. But yeah, in the general thing, the way you're seeing the world designed, it's to kill your attention span or to do boring things for a very long time. You know, so I think that thing to sit and be like, I'm gonna watch this thing from point A to point B, you know, before getting bored. I think that's what is getting lost with each coming day.
Okay.
But also, I think there's a wave coming that we have to be ready for.
Okay. 2 questions and then we close. Just 2.
Yes.
Number one is for men. You have been with Sapna in her lowest moments. Most relationships don't have that. Most people talk about, hey, in your lowest moments, it's time to leave, and goes both ways for men and women.
Right.
And the second question is, what does financial freedom mean? Because I get the vibe, the decisions you make are not influenced by money. I'm not doing this because of how much money I make. Money will surprise me if it comes. So we start with financial freedom. Shiv, what does financial freedom mean to you?
I think it's directly related to my quality of life. I want to freely afford the things I like to do, and you know, not spend, because again, I'm not the sort of person who loves luxury per se. Like, I don't want valuable things for the fact that they're valuable. I'm still the guy who, if I can see the time on my phone, I really don't need to flex a Rolex. So what do I want to do? I want to hit the gym. I want to put fuel in my car, and I want to live like whatever. So for that, I think if you can live without a debtor on your back, or, you know, a loan on your head or something, that's financial freedom for me. I want my loved ones to be able to live with the bare necessities and a bit more, right? But I also don't want to reach a point of greed. So I think financial freedom is comfort and safety. Beyond that, I think it becomes greed and flossing.
Flossing.
That's me. That's what I think.
And I think it's interesting that you mentioned you don't want to reach a level of greed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How do you manage not reaching a level of greed? Let's say if Safaricom came to you and introduced themselves at It's Safaricom, oh Lord.
No, I said yes.
No, not saying no. No. They will make sure Safaricom pays dearly for introducing themselves to them.
Yes.
Right? How do you tame greed, and what does financial freedom mean to you?
You know, I think it's adaptability to me.
Okay.
I think I can adapt. Like, okay, I had a fair share of money when I was running these companies. I I could buy all my designer clothes. I could do whatever I wanted to. But more than that, the fun of running the business was there more, Okay. Also, when I had all that money, how happy was I?
Okay.
I was in a miserable marriage, seeing it through. And then when I took the decision that, okay, enough of PC world, I want to look for other venues, I want to look for other ventures, I want to do other things. He inspired me with the training. I was so happy to move from that CEO position to becoming a trainer.
And mind you,
And
that's
if
a
I
very
just-
hard decision to make for where she's come from.
Does it mean you give up your company, Amma?
Yeah, and if I just share something with you, I've never been happier. Giving what I give to people now
Yes.
and how I empower them. I'm hardly making a fraction of what I used to make at
But it's your
PC World.
company. It's your company.
Then what happened? Obviously, the divorce got in the middle of everything, and it got very dirty and complicated.
Okay.
So I walked out. I walked out, yeah. And
No,
I
you
said
built
no.
you built this thing from scratch. You know the story from scratch, and you walk out and
Yeah, it just seemed like the right thing to do. I don't like fighting. I don't like confrontation. I was happy.
I think when I met you,
But I thought you're a fighter, Ati.
I think when I met her, she had reached that point that was not what she wanted to fight for.
Not that.
The battle, in fact, when I met her, the challenges she wanted, the stimulation she had from the gym, and when she became a trainer, I remember once when she got a call from a client crying, tears of happiness saying, "You've changed my life." And then that's when she told me, she's like, "This is what I want to scale. I want to do more of this." And I think you've never looked back ever since.
No, I haven't. And I'm enjoying myself so much. That's why I said it's just adaptability and what you enjoy.
True.
Yeah.
And people actually, people are very, any person who's experienced money, especially in business. And I believe Dr. Esther Mushemi, who started SAM, she also said this on the show, that money does not matter. Like it doesn't matter as in that much. It's not like top of the priorities. But
The live or die.
she plays in the billions club, I believe.
Yes.
In fact, yes, she plays in the billions
Yes.
club because you've experienced that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It doesn't really matter. You see that?
I'm so happy.
You don't have to have 100 billion to be really happy.
No,
In fact, I think
not.
I've not played with the sort of money you've played with. but without, like, that's why I say, like, I also don't come from a place of greed. I think there's a certain place where it just becomes mundane, or I've seen people with a lot of more problems, a lot of more sleepless nights, a lot of more stress.
Yes.
You're just adding to that chain of stress. But I don't know, like with you, from what I've experienced with you, I've seen you go from, like I'm saying, she was recently divorced, separated, going through that, and then taking this journey. And I remember, like, when I met her, I knew, because she's, even to get her on this podcast was a thing. She's shy of cameras and all that, and she doesn't share her stories and whatever.
Yes,
but
yes.
as a trainer, I used to be like, there's something about her vibe. Like, there's a pain in your eyes. I'm not getting to the bottom too. Like, such a good client, very not too like outspoken or anything, but there was something there. When you make her work out, she's working out like a beast. I'm like, what is going on in your life? At that time, I guess it was a relationship or whatever that you're battling yourself with.
Yes.
And I think that broke, that sort of torment, heartbreak or whatever broke when she started inspiring other people. I think
Definitely.
it shifted.
Yeah.
So I think at that point, the
That's
desire for money or the desire for that much of wealth was not, it was not doing the job. Like, even had she had more money in the emotional state she was, what would it have done for
Wouldn't
her
have been
really?
happy.
Really, for the sake of people out there, these are platforms for future billionaires. So for the future billionaires out there, you're saying there is no safety of sleeping in with a bank account that reads safety. Like, I could go sleep in the US tomorrow. Like, that's what most people think freedom is, right? Most people panic. You look like money wouldn't shock you now, either a lot of it or lack of it,
Yeah.
right? So must you experience that for you to develop this mindset, or there is a way you can be comfortable without the security? Because
Good
that's where we
question.
have primitive accumulation.
Yeah.
Good question.
Must you experience it to develop this mindset?
But tell me, first of all, why do you want that safety net? Isn't it for your children, or is it for yourself?
Most people say it's for their children.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would want it for my children. But I think that I hope that I've brought up my children to be very empowered women that are going to go out there, make their own life, earn their own money, and build their own bank accounts. As a mom, I hope
Yeah.
I've done that. And right now, one's in London, Charisma. She's working in a law firm. She just passed a bar exam, so she's a fully fledged lawyer now.
Good vibes.
And my younger one, Shania, she's working at a funds management company, climbing the ladder month by month, doing well for herself. So I think they're going to look after themselves.
Wow.
They don't need mommy to look after them. I think I've done them a good deed by making sure that they can make their own money so I can live my life the way I want, whether I want to be broke or whether I want to be a billionaire. That's up to me.
It's not about the money you leave them, it's the empowerment you
Yes,
instill
I've
in
left them
Makes
that.
sense.
And they're going to grow up with it. They're going to live with it.
And you see, for someone, there are so many people you see, like herself. Like, for example, people who've made that much money and then lose it know how to make it back.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, even now in the fitness business, the way she scaled it, like, I was a trainer. I was happy with capping out on my level of clients, again, where your time is worth your money. So the more clients I had, the more money I had. Whereas now, coming together with her, we've moved into a digital space where we have clients who are not even in Kenya. We're selling them nutritional plans, workout plans, and everything online. It's like a whole distributor network where we don't have to, we have, based on your age, weight, height, metrics, we can custom build a design for anyone.
Is there a link to that?
Yes.
Yes.
We can have it on the description.
Yes.
We can make sure we have the link to the
So
description.
the same mindset that she put there is what she's put in health, fitness, and wellness. And mind you, for young entrepreneurs there who are looking for a niche, health, wellness is not ever going to get outdated because people are not getting healthier without the right guidance. So it's a very good niche to tap into. It's very scalable because your client, the access, it's not a saturated market because everyone needs health in one way or another. It's what you do with it. Do you enter nutraceuticals? Do you enter nutrition? Do you enter fitness? There's a lot of scope in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why when we came together, I brought in the knowledge, I guess scientific and practical knowledge. And then she showed me, this is how you turn this into a business, right? Instead of driving my car to a client's place or working from my gym or whatever, she's like, no, this is how we take it beyond just the one-on-ones or the group classes or whatever.
Yes,
So I think that's why she knows how to play with money and make it back as well. So,
And it's fun.
And it's fun, yeah. So
you say the money game.
the money game,
The
yeah.
money
So-
game's fun. Whether it's a lot, whether it's little, it doesn't matter. Just,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
be in
for me, I mean, the amount I've seen a change in like what we can do with the fitness industry a lot. For her, it's probably this is still change, but for me, it's like whoa, like we can scale it to this level. You know what I mean? So I think it's good, and even for people out there who have creative, like I consider myself a creative. For people out there who are creative, get back with someone who knows business as well. You can scale through the roof almost anything.
Yeah.
Almost anything.
Thank you. That's heavy, but we process. To the final question, for there's a beautiful story in here that we didn't touch on, right? And I quote one of my favorite comedians of all time, Patrice O'Neill. He shares a bit where he talks about women are designed to take care of men, and when men fall sick, she'll come, she'll make food and stuff, like she'll do everything for you. But if she catches a cold, oh man, with a mask, hey, no, you understand?
True.
But then your story is the reverse, right? You experience Sapna at her lowest moment, a
Right.
stroke,
Right.
right? And you're there to the end,
Right.
right? He still his mindset.
It's, yes, to a huge degree, but what happens is, and this is my personal story, I don't know for someone else, but what happens in our case, for example, is this is someone I care about, this is someone I worry about. The nights, like there were times when she was at the hospital and I wasn't allowed to be there. Those nights are hell, because you're going through all the scariest possibilities and probabilities and negativities. You can't avoid it as much as, yes, have a positive mindset, have a strong will.
Yes.
It's shooting at you.
Yes.
But then in the morning,
Yes.
when I'm with her at the hospital,
Yes.
it's a mission. You're back with your game face on,
Yes.
showing her that, you know what,
Yes.
everything's okay, I'm here for you. So it's literally, you play it based on how the situation is. Like I said, daytime is a mission.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
yes.
here to show you, I'm here to talk to your doctors. You need medicine, I'm here to get you the medicine. You need moral support, I'm here to give you moral support. But
Yes.
yeah, on your own,
Yes.
that's when you show weakness, fear, and whatever you're feeling. But if you're in the presence of your loved one, show nothing but strength and game face.
Okay.
But yeah, it's scary. It's scary to have someone who you consider so dearly, so on the brink of death like that. It's disgusting. It's a very sick, like even now when I remember it, there's such a void in the heart where you feel your heart physically beat differently. It's crazy.
Okay. Sawa. So, personally, before the parting shots, special thank you
Thank
to
you.
and I don't know whether this is a perfect reaction. Thank you to you for saying no to death multiple times. And I hope you continue saying no to death so that you can continue inspiring people, because I've enjoyed this conversation.
Thank
personally.
you. Thank you so
100%,
much.
Right? Asante, and Shiv, asante sana for actually helping us set this up, and by extension, Cleven, right? And at this juncture, I would wish to request for a word of encouragement to someone going through a hard time.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
My
Put
word
on
of
this camera.
encouragement would be never give up. If it's the worst thing that you think, don't give up, move forward, because you don't know what's waiting for you again. Maybe it'll be a new life and you'll come back so strong, a new chapter. Never give up, move on, because there's always a beautiful door waiting for you to open. That's
Okay.
what I have to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Asante sana. And Shiv Pia, I think we've placed a formal request. Let me say this is formal request to have you come on again for a conversation on food is thy medicine.
I'll be happy to.
Sindio?
I'd be
So we
happy
can
to.
promise that episode will be happening.
Got you.
Sawa, sawa.
Whenever you need me.
Asante sana. One word for the people who quit the gym in February. I think it's as soon, in fact, by Valentine's,
Right.
the numbers start shrinking.
True.
Yes.
Slightly more than a word, but look at where you are today. How you look, how you feel, how you live, what you're doing every single day. Multiply that by the next 5 years. What do you look like, feel like, where are you? Multiply that by another 10 years. See, will you be in a good state? Will you be healthy enough to look after the people you care about? Will you be healthy enough to take care of yourself? If the answer is no, just do something. Move your body, eat right, start taking baby steps towards the right direction. It's always better to be fit, strong, and capable.
Asante sana. And we have a link in the description of this video on how to get in touch with Shiv and Sapna for any form of fitness consultation
Right.
Yes.
and guidance, and probably your products that are
Yes.
online.
Yes.
Asante sana to both of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Karibu.